So welcome back. So now we have the solution set up for the 3 projects. Now we need to start putting things into the different areas. And I think the best place to start is pretty much just using the model here and adding our first entity, which is the person class. So what I want to do is I want to go into the person app entities here. Let me just zoom a bit so you guys can see it properly. Here in the solutions, I have one called person app entities. I'm going to right click that guy and I'm going to say add new item like this. It pops up, I select the class and then I go and call it person. I say add and then I get a new class called person. Remember to make it public, because if I do not add the public sign here, it'll be internal, meaning that it's only available inside this project right here. So there are 2 keywords here. I talked about internal briefly earlier, but internal like this, internal, there we go. That actually means that you can use this in any class inside this project. But that's not what we want to do. We want to use it anywhere. We also want to use it up here. We also want to use it down here. So we have to make the person class public, not internal. Good. What does the person need? Let's just give him a name at least. We can add more to it later. So I'll give him a name. Oh, that wasn't what I wanted. It's a string, of course, because I have to type in the type first. And then a name. That's the name of the property. And that's all I'm going to do for now. You guys can add more properties. I'll just overwrite the toString as well. Very simple stuff, just to do that. Now I've just started using ReSharper, and some things are faster and some things are just freaking annoying, so just bear with me when it messes up now and then. It just doesn't act like I would hope it would do. So I'm just going to add a string here and say a name. I'm just going to add his name here, nothing else. That's it. You guys can override this yourselves and make it easier, better, add more properties, but I just wanted to give you guys, this is the person class now, and now I'm going to try and use it. I want to try and use it inside the UI, which is this console right here. So I want to grab the person from here and try to print him. Create a person and print him out to the console like we did earlier with other things like employee. So what I want to do is I want to add a variable of the type person that's equal a new person. But person is not here. The problem is that I did not add a reference. So now we start working between projects. So we have to explain this project that it should know about this project, right? So these 2 projects need to be bound together somehow. So if I go back to the drawing, I need to make this line right here. I need to explain to the view that it should talk to this model. But I'm not allowed to do it the other way. So I shouldn't have this line at the same time. Then you would have a problem. Let me show you what I mean. First of all, let's add the line from the person manager to the person entities. That's by adding a reference. Right now you have references already. You're using the default things that Microsoft expect you need for your projects, which is primarily system. But all of these are actually some kind of DLL files that Microsoft provides for you. And you're referencing them right here. So I'm going to right click this and say I want to add a new reference. The reference I want to add, you have to click projects, solutions, and then the reference I want to add is pretty much person app entities. I'll say OK, and the person app entities will pop up in here, meaning that now I can actually do a control space, control dot, and then I can find the person. Let me just write person here. And you'll see it's here. If you're not using ReSharper, you'll have to do control dot and write the entire person, the entire text in there. But I say I want to use person. There we go. It creates a person for me. So that means that now I actually have access between the 2 projects. That was just to test that. Let's just print the person for the fun of it. So let's make the person like we've done earlier. I'll just add a property for him here. The name, and that's just call him John here. And let's just print John, console, right line, and person. You guys have done things like this before, so it's not rocket science. Let's just do a read line below to make sure that we don't just shut the program down instantly. And this is, again, this is just to test that we now have the reference between the 2 programs. I'll run the program and see if it actually is okay. And if that's the case, I'm going to show you 2 more things and then we'll end this video. It starts a program, pops up with John, so John is there. So it seems that the person can actually work. Good. I talked about not referencing both ways. Let's try and add a reference from the app entities back to the person manager. So what I'm doing again is I'm right-clicking references. I'm saying add reference. It pops up, and now I want to reference back to the console. And let's say OK. I get an error. You cannot reference both ways. So let's look at the drawing again. So I'm not allowed to do this. I'm not allowed to say I know you and you know me. Why? Because I need to make these into actual files. So the exe file says I need this DLL file. But if the DLL files also says I need this exe file, these guys will keep compiling itself to make the other one work. You'll just get a never-ending loop, and that's why that's not possible. Okay, so that's why you're only allowed to reference one way. And in this case, the right way to do it is from the UI, which is in the top, down to the model, which is lower. So now we have this up and running. One more thing I want to tell you very quickly is remember that your default project needs to be the console application, because you are not allowed to run your DLL files as exe files. So let me just try and show you. I just set this as default. I'll start and I get an exception. This is a class library. You cannot run that. So just switch to the console instead if you did that by mistake. Set a startup project, launch again, and you are all fine to go again, ready to run with John here.